Thank you for joining us on our Family First Life Tri-State Serve the People podcast. We appreciate you tuning in, spending your time to develop and grow with us. Follow us, please, on all our social media platforms at Family First Life Tri-State or FFL Tri-State. We love you. Keep listening, and I hope this information is serving you across the country. All right, everybody. Thank you for jumping on with us. This is our Family First Life Tri-State Training Day podcast. I got my good friend Caleb Amoros with me, who is just, crushing it from every single angle you can imagine. Him and his team, Family First Life 320, are doing some amazing things. 320 Life Solutions, newly branded. These guys are killing it. Yeah. Board member looking to advance to senior board member pretty soon here, and I don't think it's going to be long, before we start with that banner. So, Caleb, man, listen, I love having you on. You're such a wealth of knowledge, but you're so heavily involved with the service aspect of, making sure it's not just systems. You're actually going in there with word tracks, and you're teaching from, the core of what you guys are actually trying to accomplish. And you don't leave the spot until people understand, and then you move on, which is what has created a ball of success really for your whole group, because Gabe does the same thing from a sales perspective. Yeah. Joe does the same thing from a, macro perspective. So you guys are very good at giving the information, but making sure we can't move forward until I have everyone going north and south with their head. And that has done a world of difference for your agency, and it's created an insane amount of growth. You guys are freaking exploding. So what I'd like to do is just kind of hand this thing off to you. I'll certainly chime in and out, but talk to us a little bit about what's happening right now, because I feel like we went to convention and you were helping 300 to 350 families a week. Then we left convention and you were helping 550 to 600 families a week. Almost like we were in Alice in Wonderland. You clicked the heels and all of a sudden we weren't in Kansas anymore, my dude. So talk to me a little bit about what's happening. Yes, we'll certainly get into some of the micro here, but I want to hear from you top down, just kind of what's going on.
100%, brother. So I think number one, the most important, first, just again, thank you, Mark. It's been a journey. April 17th is coming up. That marks the 2-year journey for us of being in this battle, and just thinking of, I like to call it battle because, we want to win, but everyone wants to win, but you got to take those daily battles and to win that war, and I think that just looking back, I'm so thankful we landed where we landed. Just thankful for the relationship we've had with Tri-State, the amazing support that you guys are giving and the staff, and you learn a lot from just doing and looking from afar also, No doubt. I think everybody, it's so important to learn and do that. Just go implement and then watch what the leaders are doing. But I think that from going to just this practical steps of convention, the first thing is that we decided to do right off the bat was to invest in the people that were coming. Now, when I say that, obviously at our level, it's a little bit differently. When I started last year, when we had the 7-city convention, that was a little bit of a different game, right? That was, okay, let me get my agents there, the people that I'm trying to warm market. This year, now all those agents went out, killed it, crushed it. So now we're saying, let's invest in our leadership so that they go multiply. So, though at this level it looked like, hey, let's throw money in for a good dinner. Let's bring their wives on board. How do our leaders, how are they on board? We know their wives, we know their family. How can we connect with them? On top of that also, we had a room where we rented to make sure that we had time to just also, hey, let's go to this location in between the breaks at night, instead of going and just hanging out and wasting time. Let's go do business. Let's go, let's go. I know it's late, but if you want to be a millionaire, you got to work, right? So you want what the people on the stage talked about. You want what Mark Mead, Ivan, Grady, Andrew Taylor, you want those big teams, you got to put the sacrifice in, right? And so those practical little things though led to those big results. Right. You know what I mean? And that's what happens. People, we miss the practical steps of the day to day. We want the issue pay report and magically we want to see it triple or double, but you got to put that practical step. So first I was investing money and time into our leadership. Now what happens is, this is what I love about this business. When you have the right people around you, and you're having success, they go duplicate what you're doing without asking. They just go do it. Why did I get a recruiter? Because you and Ivan were growing. So I went and just got a recruiter. So why did Matt and Mike Inception spend almost $20,000 getting people to convention? Because they saw Gabe and I spending a lot of money. So they're like, all right, well, let's go. And if they really believe in this agent, and he was, all right, we'll pay half of it and you pay the other half. And this other agent, we'll help you with the hotel room if you book the flight. Now, are all those people going to work out? No, but the problem is that when you don't take the steps, you don't know who does work out.
Sure.
So that's really where it comes from. You're going to lose part of it, but not only did we spend it, then our leadership went and did what we lead from the front, so that they go and do it.
Right. And
then on top of that, now it comes to the result of when you have 10 people get energized and excited, that's awesome. But if I know the numbers and the retention rate of FFL, 10, 15%, whatever it is, now we say, okay, well, if I'm going to do I want 1 out of 10? Let's just look at it realistically like it works, right? What's the retention rate? If I get 10 people to a convention, if I got those last year and it got me 2 or 3 out of 10, well, if I want 30, so my report grows by 50, 100 families help, like you said, well, then I need this X amount of agents. And to get that X amount of agents, I got to get just more people there. So it's all the numbers game, right? So if I want 5 to work, let me bring 30 to 40. And then obviously we all know that the rule of numbers, the larger you are, more improvements there are, right? More help you can provide to people because, you get that compound factor. Right. So that's what we did, Mark, that really helped us. We got a mass amount of people there. We invested in the people, the culture. You know what we did? We went to the ATM. We took out $2,500 in cash, put $10 in an envelope. We had our staff writing people's names, and then we printed a 3x5 card that said, "Thank you for coming." Signed it, Caleb Basso. He said, "We appreciate you for being here."
I love this.
Yeah.
Caleb Basso, that's great.
And then we gave the whole team, we gave them $15 each, I'm sorry. So we gave almost 250 people money, go have lunch. It's just, those little things now, they go and they blow up and they get on fire for you. Mm-hmm. And then work is happening because of that investment. So, just looking at it as a business perspective for sure.
Yeah. Very much, though, from a service perspective, like good businesses serve. That business model works.
I love it.
That's what you guys are doing. At the end of the day, the amount of investment that you're making into your people, mental deposits, intellectual deposits, financial deposits that you're putting in, time deposits, it's really multiplying. Like, honestly, all the money in the world wouldn't multiply this without the right soil. And you guys have created a tremendous soil. So that's why, it feels like whatever you put your hand to is multiplying. And it's really, so I watch it from up close and I watch it from afar, like you said, it's a pretty good, both vantage points. I spend more to get up close, but even when I'm in the 400 seats, I have a pretty good view, Caleb, and it's pretty nice to see, and it's like watching y'all maneuver and work and build team, build camaraderie has been exceptional. Now, obviously, you're saying you had 250, 300 at convention. What was some revelations you took from convention that are playing themselves out? Your convention strategy played itself out immediately in your business. What were some things you took away there?
Yeah, I think number one, the power of understanding, Mark, that you can't help everyone. So that's just so important. Sean and Mike talks about it all the way, right? To just get out of the way, right? And let many times, and sometimes you don't understand what that means, but I didn't connect with all 200 of those people.
Right.
I could, if you sit me down with all of them, we can talk, but I can connect with some, others probably not. I can help this guy here. I can help this guy there. There were stages of my growth that you helped me. And there were stages of my growth that I got something from Ivan or calling another person, Right. So I think that understanding that you are not going to be the one person for everyone is so important, because then you bring them to convention and then there's random guys like Trey Honeycutt was amazing. And, even though you said what Trey Honeycutt said, he just took it from Trey at a best. Then that's fine. There's no problem. You just respected him more because he was funny, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. So, and then someone else says, oh, I heard this guy. And that was, well, really, because we've spent 3 hours on the phone talking about buying leads. So I guess because this guy said it, you're just going to listen up. But that's okay. That's the psychology of as we are as humans. Right now, they're in the environment. It probably breaks their will, or those thoughts in the back of agent's head that says like, well, is this company true? Right. Is this going to work out? Right. Are those numbers real? And then they just see the stadium. They see the people. That's why convention is just so essential, because stuff happens in the brain, like things that you just can't, do on a Zoom call because of the magnitude of what it is. Right. So that's the first thing. That lays down the groundwork, right? So then I think when you go to the next stage from there, then we saw not only that, but people then believe in the opportunity. Like, man, I was in this running appointments, Mark, for a long time, but I didn't believe in the opportunity. I thought I was believing back then. You know what I mean? Like, I thought I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I believe in this. It's the best company. But when you really believe in it, you're going to sacrifice everything to get to it. So now our agents really believe in it, and you see it by how they're spending their money, how much leads are they buying for themselves, what time are they our dial teams have been much more bigger in attendance. Now they're holding their own agents accountable. So we've seen this growth in the belief of what this can do for them and their families, And again, it goes back to the point that your organization, when you work together and plug into that system that Family First Sight provides in Tri-State, then we can help those people truly, truly believe. That's what we're trying to do, right? Zoom calls, this Training Day podcast. Mm-hmm. Do you really believe in this opportunity? Are you willing to give up and delay gratification for just 2-3 years while you're trying to get to that level of then growing? So that's what we saw. And I think the last thing also that was super helpful as well, Mark, a lot of agents are struggling, man, not only for the new people, because we focus on the growth, right? Mm-hmm. But the growth is so essential because there's a part to it that many times we miss, which is the maintenance of a lot of those issue pay riders. And we had 138 riders last year. Yeah, so a lot of those riders that went now had 3-4 sales, and then they just kind of fell off the face of the planet. For sure in quarter one, whatever those were at that 2 and 3 level, and then you just dump them in convention, man, they're gonna not. A lot of those are not going to face off. But many times, some of them are just struggling. So we also, specifically, then the conversations we had with agents that were struggling. Now it's different when you lay that platform of convention. They believe in themselves. They connect to someone else that can help them more than you can. But then you just go in for the dive. Hey, tell me what's going on. Did you really need that brand new $700 car payment? Like did you really need this? Did you really need that? So now it's nurtured relationships for us, Mark, to really connect at a deeper level with our team that is, thousands of miles away from our Indiana office, but now you're just nurturing those relationships. So we've seen that, and then that gives them family support when they go home. Because I think a big part of this business too is there's a lot of things we can't control. Right. Sometimes as a business owner, you see someone, struggling and your heart goes out to them, like you said, in that belief of service, and you want to don't do that, do this, it's going to help you, it's going to help your family more. But we saw from convention also the practicality of a lot of their wives, their family more believed into what they were doing, and it gave credibility a lot.
Yeah, that's huge. Now, you guys are doing a lot of work, as you said earlier in the podcast, with leaders. What does that look like, helping leaders secure their blind spots, helping them catapult growth and look at the items that help them serve their people better?
I love it. Yeah, so that's a great question. Number one is every leader, of course, is at a different phase, right, in their business. I used to say, just go get a recruiter, get a recruiter, get a recruiter. Some managers, if they have an admin for 20 hours, 25 hours, so they were helping 25 families, now they go and help 40 families, 45 families. Now they can get 2 recruiters because you solved the problem. Right. Does that make sense? And I've learned that before, because there were some managers that were like, go get this one staff. but then they trust you and go do it. But the problem is still there because when you get staff, you got to grow your income as well. It's a business.
Right, correct.
So then sometimes we use the same hammer, right? And then you look, it's like, well, why don't I use this hammer? And then boom, it just works, because you identified how you were. So then helping them first with their structure and their business. Also, because when you do that, again, then there's the next level of belief. So do I believe that this can help my family? I can help 40 families, help 45. Yes. But then there's the next level. Do I really believe that I can get an integrity deal? Right. Do I really believe that I can have that video one day? and the actions will show you. Because I was asking you about integrity with no recruiter. I didn't believe in it. I was just being nosy. You know what I mean? I wanted to be part of the status quo. You know what I mean, man? It's like I wanted to be in the group chat without sacrificing for it. So now you then help them to really start believing that can help for them one day. So we say, okay, great. Now that you're helping 40, 45 families a month, let's put these things in place. And now you create that trust and that loyalty and that friendship over the business that can work. So we structure that well, the cash flow coming in so we don't hurt them, right? And we don't go backwards later. Then on top of that also, every manager has strengths and weaknesses, Mark, right? So you got to play those strengths and weaknesses. You got to help them also understand that. Some can be a Matthew Borsch. They will not miss one thing on their calendar. You can use all automation and apps and all these triggers with that because he gets it. Well, but that was his strength, right? He grew the cold market extremely well. Now then you got a guy like a Mike Irving that merged with him that is not more in gear with that, but brought a massive warm market with him. Travis Vincent, Tom Mello, brought his dad, brought his sister. Like this guy's just bringing people. So play your strengths as you go and then help them little by little to recognize their weakness. Because sometimes we say, well, just help them with their weakness and go make it. Well, first, let's help them recognize it so that they actually see why you're trying to help them with it. Right. So that's on that side. And then the last practical step is explaining and having communication with them right now, because we're getting to that level. Of course, now you have, whatever 28, 29 people investing into the recruiting structure. Well, you got to have accountability and you want to have openness so they understand what's going on. People start asking questions, personality start getting in the way. So now in the business, you have accountability, openness on, hey, this is how many leads you got. This is how many dials your recruiter made. This is what is happening here. This is what we're planning to execute here. So you want to involve them as well and have that connection so they understand they're part of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, very detailed. Like if I'm listening, and I mean, we have listeners and an audience, and it's like if I'm listening, I understand. That's key. This is key when you're trying to build a business. I think, Caleb, and you break it down better than anybody, but it's like, I want to build a business. Okay. Like, hand raise, I want to build a business. But from that, it's like, all right, you have to bring human beings into your business, and all of those human beings are wired differently. And they all want to call you, and they all want to go help families, and they all want some attention of some sort, right? And if you were talking to someone that's helping 20, 25 families a month, and they hired their friend, a former coworker, and someone from, an ad they hired. They have 3 people, but they want to build a business. Tell me how you walk this person along.
I get it. No, I get it. I got you. I think number one is having help. A real business, Mark, has staff. Because then we would, again, now you go back 5-7 minutes where I'm explaining those steps, those practical what to go do, right? But to implement those things, if someone's writing it in a notebook right now, they try to go do it and then try to go help 45 families, and then they have their personal life, and then they go try to work on their week. What are we doing, right? So, but if you have a staff first, you have a staff member. Now I got a staff. What are the things that need to be done? Then what does the staff go do? And how does he help me recognize when I'm not doing those things? So then every month I'm starting to look at that. And then that staff it's funny how our brain works, right? We have all these ideas and things, right. But then on the 31st, we sit down 15, 20 minutes with our staff. They give you the report of the month, and then you start seeing the numbers. This is how many agents showed up to training. How many agents were on the Zoom dial team. And then you're like, like, wait, what? Like, what's going on? And then you start improving those. I was at a conference in Atlanta, and there was a man that he sold 273 businesses in the last 9 years. And I'm working with him on some training that I'm doing. And he grew a PNC business and sold it for about $1.3 billion. And I asked him, what makes you different than a lot of the other business owners that you come across with? And, what made you different in that level? And he said, I'm really good at identifying inefficiencies and putting the right measures in place to correct those. Mm-hmm. So a new person that comes in and is saying, I got these friends here, I got this here, and I got this here. It's like they go hard for 12 months and then they stop and look back and they're like, oh, wow, we're not really much, or nothing much has happened, right? But along the way, there was a lot of inefficiencies that were happening. Yeah. So if you stop every 10 to 15 days and you sit in a chair with your staff member, let's go over our business, and you see how many people are in Excel, how many people are here, how many people are there, right? And then, okay, there's not growing, right? So we say, okay, then we need to have more people in Excel. All right, so then let's start at that phase. Let's go recruit on the phone. Let's go hire them. Let's go recruit and get them into Excel. And then we start identifying our inefficiencies as we go, right? Because I was that person, Mark, that had a couple people. I was helping 20, 25 families. So I got one staff member, and then we started going, but we were putting all these people in Excel, and not a lot were coming out. And it's like I decided to turn around and look with Joe 6-7 months later. Yeah. Well, if we would have stopped in 45 days, where are we at? And then start working those inefficiencies. I think that's the practical side of it. Go get someone that makes a call, just like you're calling to dial appointments. Get someone to call and recruit. Just start recruiting. What do I do? There's a script. Go get the script, recruit, right? Mm-hmm. Then after you recruit, just go call the leads. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know how to get the leads. That's fine. There's thousands of companies that do Facebook funnels. They're you just click it. It's like, it's just a done for you software. You can recruit that way. So now you get all these leads. Have your recruiters start calling. Plug them into this podcast. Plug them into Podcast for Training, and then look at your inefficiencies as you're growing to improve that.
I'm so glad you said what you said about the business, and you started going, and I remember it so vividly. When you stopped and turned around is when you had a real business, because you were going. And I remember talking to you like, dude, why are you guys not 3 times bigger? Because your foundation was so was so solid. And it was like, but then when you when you turned around, when you turned around and started inspecting what you expected, the thing blew up, because you're probably wired to be really good at inefficiencies, but I don't know if you knew exactly how to do that here. Once you started micromanaging the numbers, which is, you became a savage, a master at micromanaging the numbers, because you looked at them. Your wiring was there, but you were looking at the wrong numbers. You know what I mean? And when you started looking at the right numbers, ba-boom. And you started to, facilitate, the relationships that were there, and use them for the greater good of the business and for the greater good of those people and their families. And that's what I saw. And it went really fast. And I remember I was doing the podcast on like the best kept secret at FFL. And it wasn't like 6-8 weeks later we did another one. I said, dude, the cat's out the bag, dude. you guys are gone. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think that getting you, I like to get you guys on these podcasts because you're seeing the business at such a fast pace, and you're putting so many systems in place to make it go faster while not leaving people behind. That is so critical. It's a unique skill set, and most people could do it, but they have to, like you said, turn around and look at the business. Yeah. And what's the best way to coach someone to turn around and look at the business without them forgetting the fact that they actually have to go out in the field and help families? Because you know how it is. It's like, can I help families in the homes and over the phone and telesales, and can I recruit? And it's like, you think it's two different brains. Like, can you explain a little bit about that, the best way you coach that?
Yeah, I love that. It's a great question, Mark. So I think number one is understanding, like, every business, no matter what industry that we're at, you need that. You need to make sure you're feeding that business with the cash flow, which was necessary to fund it, right? So we go help 40, 45 families a month. It's going to allow us now to have the funding for what we need. Now, that's the first step right there. So going from 20, 25 families to 40 to 45 is its own science of its own, right? But really, that's really all in our head, because when you look at how many agents are helping that amount of families a month, dude, all the training is there. All the training is there that we need. So when we accomplish that first step, and then going to 40 to 40 families, it allows you the opportunity to take control of your time, your skill, and your income. So when we take control of our time, skill, and income, we do that through a team. So then we put the right staff in place, whether an administrator and then a recruiter. And then the practical step from there on going to that next level is allowing the recruiter to do what he does, the administrator to do what he does, and then you, as the agent, you keep going to help those families. So now there's not the weight of, well, I got to go do this and this. Well, no, I go do this, and then I go do this, and then he does this, this, and this.
Right.
And if you break it down, it's pretty simple, right? The administrator helps you to look at the inefficiencies of your business. They help you manage that business and manage what the recruiter's doing, which is getting people going. Now, that's simple, right? The recruiter only needs one CRM and needs to have leads, just like you have the FFL CRM and you have leads to call families to help. And the administrator is there to put out fires, because there's going to be fires. Or there's a fire and he needs it. Where do I get the water for that fire? Go get the solution. I call this person, I call that person. While the agent is in a house helping a family, the administrator is getting the water to go put out the fire, and the recruiter's bringing more people to that fire. So we got to make sure we put it out, So that's the simplicity of it. But the base of it, Mark, is getting that 40 to 45 families, because if you don't get there, you're not going to have what you need to solve it. You're not going to have the key to unlock the potential that this business provides. That's why the foundation is so important of 40 to 45 families. Now, then there's a key in there also. There's a blessing that the more we delay gratification for ourselves, the more water I have, the more fuel I have to go pour into the business.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? I still got outside. My staff always laughs because I got a 2012 Chevy Cruze. I'm pretty sure I got the worst car of every staff in this building. You know what I mean? And that's just a personal thing I'm doing. That's a personal thing I'm doing until our integrity deal comes through. Why? I don't know. I don't have a glorious principle or hidden. It's just something I want to do. I just, it's just a little principle for me personally to remind myself why we're in this, just that little principle, because then you apply that to all areas of our life and it helps. It helps so much. So I think that you delay gratification on your side, you go help 40 to 45 families, and now it's not like, oh, I got to go run and I got to go do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. Well, no, you just wake up every morning and you do the 5 things you do, and then the administrator does the 5 things that he does, and then the recruiter does the 5 things that he does. And it's just a well-oiled machine as you go. Again, it's just understanding to put that blueprint in process and to go follow that through.
Very strong. Last question is, how do you find good staff, and how do you know that the staff is? I'm out in the field. I'm going meeting with Betty and Tom and Julie and Susie and Timmy, and I'm trying to figure out. I'm doing my job. I'm going out. I'm going to get 40, 45 families. I'm trying to go help and serve those people. And now on the back end, I want this person to do their 5 things, and I want the recruiter to do their 5 things. How do I know that I hired good people? And even better yet, how do I hire good people from the jump?
I love it. Well, number one, I think you help me understand this a lot too, and you have to ask the right questions. Right, because then we have warm market people that there's involved. You can go, but you got to have the right questions to ask. So I think specifically on that level, for transparency, I'm not the best at asking those questions when bringing someone in.
Got it.
But I have learned a couple things is if you just let people talk for a little bit about themselves, you'll pick stuff up right away. Right, real easy. Because then the first, if you start noticing that they just start blaming all the other employers. Oh, the problem with there was this, with this, you know what I mean? Then if you ask, what are your strengths? And then if you ask, what are your weaknesses? With usually those three questions, you let them talk, you ask for their strengths and ask for their weaknesses. And then it's very, I love this. And I applied a couple times and it's helped me is, when you ask them, when is enough going to be enough for you in your career?
I love that.
When is enough going to be enough for you? And either they're going to look at you like with deer in the headlights, right? Or they're going to have a ready answer, because then you want a staff member and someone, Mark, that is working toward a personal goal. Because as a company, you're going to, at the level of a new agent, Mark, you have to really, there needs to be a vision, and you can do your best to implement that family first life vision. But there's going to be times, Mark, where that employee is just going to keep going because of who they are, not what you're offering.
100%.
And that's so key. That's so crucial that you have those right people. And I think then that's first. Then the second thing is a positive attitude. Because then not only because some people will keep working because of who they are. They're going to be faithful. They're going to have character, integrity, and they're going to work, right? But then also, how are they doing that work then? What positive attitude are they bringing to that environment? One thing I love that we, all heard from Kevin O'Leary was giving them that probation period, 45, 60 days, and being okay to say, hey, this isn't working out or this is working out, and giving them that same opportunity. Because now you're not stuck 3 months later with someone you don't want to have. And the third one's the key. You got to just call Mark Mead. You call Mark, man. He gives amazing principles.
You are ridiculous.
Anytime I had to hire somebody that I was confused, I just picked up the phone. I call Mark. Mark, what do you think about this? But in all sincerity, you don't have to know all the answers. And that's so powerful, because all you have to do is call the people that have the answers, because you see their organization. That's it. Sometimes people think we have it all together. Sometimes I'm calling you, Mark. We were just on the phone this weekend with a problem. I was like, okay, let's call Mark. Let's see what his opinion is, because he's quadruple the size we are. So he's for sure probably handled this. If not, let me call Ivan. Let me call this guy. Let me call Sean in this situation. You don't have to know everything. So as you are diving into the process of hiring someone, you're going to make some mistakes, and that's okay. You have to have a piece going into it.
Yes.
But then as you start going about it, ask some good questions, get someone with a positive attitude, and see when's enough is enough for that person. It's going to reveal to you who they are, and then you'll start learning that process. And again, you can't do everything perfectly. You have to be okay with making mistakes.
No doubt.
And because experience is expensive. Experience is expensive. No, why don't I have a big team? Because you don't have experience. You haven't spent enough money yet. Let's go spend money. Just go do some things that will give you experience. You don't find it in the shelf right at Walmart. It's not in aisle 3. You got to go out there and just get it done, and you will learn as you do it. But good questions, someone with a good attitude, and call Mark.
Dude, your new name is now the Business Professor. I'm sold. The Encyclopedia of Business has spoken. Caleb Amoros laying it down like only he can. Man, I appreciate you more than you know. It's such an honor to be in business with you. I learn so much every time we do this. And this is a barn burner for sure. Please listen into this. I think people can get better listening to this. I think people can grow their business listening to this. These principles aren't complicated, and they're very well explained in this podcast. Thank you, Caleb, for all you do, brother.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, everybody, hammer down. Big weeks ahead. Breaking records ahead. Let's roll. God bless.